Today I decided to share with you reborning rather than the sculpting, but we will get back to the sculpting. As I said yesterday, I'm using the Ultimate Fusion. Excuse me, my allergies. The Ultimate Fusion air dry paints, as opposed to the Genesis paints, which is what I have been using up until now. I normally work on 4 kits at a time, and I will only be showing you the one. The rest I'll do off camera. Now, this one is a Casey Brace kit, and his name is what's your name? Ramsey. Quite a cute little baby. Now, I try and work on babies that are all approximately about the same, representing the same age group, and that way I don't, because with the older babies I don't worry about the mottling, whereas with the younger ones I do. Now, I don't go in accordance to instructions. It's a bit like that with me with recipes as well. I can look at a recipe and think, right, I can follow you to there, but then I'm going to change it a bit to suit me, and generally it works. But yeah, okay. What I found with using the Ultimate Fusion to begin with, and in accordance to the guidance, I wasn't getting the depth of colour that I would be getting if I were using Genesis. So after a lot of and a lot of shine would go with painting them, and I don't like shiny kits. But after excuse me, a few experimentations and additions and subtractions, if you wish, I finally found something that I'm happy with. Now, these kits, or he has, all 4 of them, already had a coat of flesh base with a bit of sealer mixed into it, which I'll show you. I usually use about 2 drops of the sealer, which is also from Ultimate Fusion, and I also have found this almost indispensable. This is a craft stick I've been using just to dip this stuff out and mix it with the paints and the water, the distilled water, and the sealer. And if I want an extended time frame to work with the paints, I will add a bit of the blend flow, which doesn't allow it to dry up as quickly. But I find that now that I know what I'm doing with them, I don't actually use that as much, if at all. Yeah. Now this is as hard as rock. Oh, sorry, I was getting a bit distracted then. I was thinking. This is as hard as rock. It will not come off this stick. And this, I feel, is the adhesive properties in it that adheres the colour to the vinyl. It is not part of the Ultimate Fusion range. It is called Liquitex Professionals, which is an ultra matte gel, and I bought it from a craft store online where I buy a lot of my other things that I need for, like, silicone babies or whatever. Actually, I don't think they sell for silicone, but I don't really remember what I buy from there, but I do buy things. Yeah, and I find that this is my secret tool. It may not work for everybody. Certainly, as I said, everything I show you here is what works for me. Now that they are dry, and here they've been sitting on this rack for like last couple of days, we're going to go on to our primary colours to build up the skin tones. Now, I was debating on whether to do mottling or not with these guys and babies, and if I were using Genesis, I would use a sponge like this, which is just they use it to wash. It's a big block. They use it to wash horses, and I find it's fantastic for modelling. Just cut a piece off and just use it. The other option is to get your cosmetic sponges and they no, I've lost it now. Tweezers to pluck out and make holes in the bottom of these. I'm going to try one layer of modelling and see how I go. Otherwise, I'm just going to build up my layers as we go. Okay, so well, I'll just put him back there for now. And I'm going to mix up, as I said, not in accordance to what the instructions tell you to mix up. It's what I found to be suitable for me. Now, I will start with a blue, I think, and the one I'm using, oh, that's the wrong one. The one I'm going to use is an ultramarine blue. Always shake these paints whenever you're about, or any, oh no, you don't have to shake the Genesis. Okay, so these are, can be quite hard to open. No, I made a liar out of me. I say they're and-proof, not child-proof. But anyway, we're going to put, now this amount that I'm going to mix here, again, is for 4 babies, not 1. So, it'll be 1, 2, I'll say 3 there, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and I just realised I had some left over and I put it in a little jar, airtight jar. Anyway, we like wasting things around here. We shall put this away and we will put in our sealer, and I think to that amount I use about 4 drops if I can get it open. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, plentiful, and I will add my Liquitex little magic stuffs. Oops. So you don't need a lot. I only get like about that much, which is not a lot at all. And then we get our distilled water, which is readily available. Blue's a very predominant colour and does stay in the vinyl. It sort of absorbs it in very, very quickly. I would dilute this down to a watery-like consistency, almost like water paints, right? So there we have the distilled water. I may have to add more. I'll do those in a minute. The plucking things. Yay! The cosmetic sponges that need to be have little parts plucked out of them to make a modelling sponge. Now, make sure this is well mixed up. And I can tell you now, before I even attempt to use it, that, okay, this is going to be too intense, this blue. And I'm just going to add to it some more water to thin it down. Once it's all mixed up properly. So obviously, you could possibly go 10 drops instead of 20 with the blue. Really say that 10 times fast. Really well mixed up. Now that's too thick. When you wipe the brush against your bowl, if it's like that, it's too thick. It's not running down fast enough, right? And especially with a colour like blue, you don't want to muck around with it. So I've put in 5 mils, and I think I'm going to put in an additional 5. And you know, like, don't forget these are air dry paints, so they're not. It's not going to stay like Genesis. Not going to stay around and wait for you to use it. Use it. It's a bit thinner. If you don't use it, it'll just dry up in your plate, and that's not only a waste of money and paint, but can be, yeah, just not right. Okay, this is a little bit thinner. On the paper, this is the look. Dry throat. Okay, I'm going to try the mottling. And I'm going to try applying it first with the brush. There's several ways to do it anyway. We'll try this way first, see how far we get. Now, I blot some out on the excess out on the paper, and then start at the back of the head, which I would have done with Genesis as well. Simply and purely because if you're going to make a mistake, it's better to be at the back of the head than the front. Now you can hardly see that mottling at all, the pattern, but the blue is yeah, about the right consistency of what I would be looking for. Modelling shouldn't be overly heavy anyway, but and if you can see, yes, I'm pouncing, but it's more like a stamping of sorts. It's like, I hope I'm in camera, because this camera and I don't get along at all. Well, not me, the doll, baby. Can you tell I'm nervous doing these? Taken much to guess. Okay, not nervous with what I'm doing, with filming. Me, I don't like being the centre of attention. The sacrifices I do. Anyway, so there you go. That's the back part done. It is so slight, you can hardly tell that there's any paint on there at all. And really, I'd rather have that than really heavy blue. I'm going to do some on the face, but very little. Now, if these were older babies, as I said, I would just be brushing this on with the brush at the back of the head. Then with a cosmetic sponge, no mottling, holes, I would just go ahead and take off the excess. So I'm just blotting this on. You know what, I just realised that I didn't blot this out on the paper first. But even without having done so, the mottling's still not intense, so that's good. And we don't want too much on the face anyway, but you can see it's just a slight change of colour. But the actual pattern of the mottling is not as evident. But that's okay, you know, like babies can be... that's just my oven going off at the back. Just baked a little clay baby. Babies don't all have intense mottling, okay? So there you go. Hardly see it. We're going to go ahead and do the rest the same way. I lost my handle brush. Start with the leg and load your sponge up using the brush. And you just cover the whole leg again. Whoa, now that is too much. So if that happens, just get a cosmetic sponge and wipe it off before it dries. What's happened there? A bit of the paint sort of pooled and dried there. So I've just blotted off the excess and I'm going over it again, covering the entire limb. I might just do the 3 layers of the primary colours, which is your red, blue and yellow in mottled, and then I'm just going to go ahead and apply with the brush, and I'll show you how that's done. This is my first experience with air dry paints, so I wasn't really aware of what to expect and kept comparing them to Genesis. There's really no comparison. So they just work totally different paints. Okay, so as you can see, it's just a very, very slight blue mottle. I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these. They're going to dry very quickly. The head's already dry, so that's how quick they are. And then I'll be back to show you the next layer.